Hey everyone, you're watching News Insights.
I'm an orthopedic surgeon and a regenerative medicine specialist. Regenerative medicine or orthobiologics is the newest and the latest branch in orthopedics in which we use our body's own cells to heal arthritis or chronic conditions like back pain, knee pain, arthritis, rheumatism, all of that. Okay, so this is the latest, and the next 10 years you will be seeing revolution in the treatment of all this, and this will lead to avoiding major surgeries later on. I practice in Mumbai, so we have our centers in Mumbai and many other cities in Maharashtra. So we are coming here for the first time to Bangalore.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You gave a good lecture in.
About the use of fat in our body to make stem cells out of it or separate stem cells out of fat and then inject it in the joint to make the joint heal. Okay, so basically it is treatment of arthritis with fat, which is called adipose stem cells.
You said about the fat.
Fat, okay, for treating through the cells. So what we do is we remove little bit of fat from the tummy, we process them, and we separate the regenerative cells in them and then inject it back into the joint who has arthritis. So if I have arthritis, I'll take my own fat, I will make cells out of it and then inject it back into my joint. So that is what this regenerative treatment is about.
What is the
But we can make the similar things out of blood also, okay, which are very simple things to be done. Replacement surgery is not going to last for 40 years, so these therapies will make your joint last longer, natural joint last longer.
what you tell about the message for the patients?
So I will always say that if you have been diagnosed with any joint problem or joint issue or arthritis, and
there aren't too many people who are focused on orthobiologics, which is regenerative therapies in India. What we have done is we are also a training center for a lot of doctors. So we train orthopedics in orthobiologic treatment. So what is regenerative treatments? What are how it is to be done? Who are the right patients for it? What kind of patient selection should we be doing? What kind of treatment should we be doing for which kind of patient? All of that training we give and provide to the orthopedics in the country. We are associated with the American Board for Regenerative Medicine, which provides their diplomat program. So we are the only guys in India who provide the diplomat training program to orthopedics in the country.
Any new type?
I think the important part here is our in India currently there isn't so much awareness about regenerative therapies. That's the mission we bring to the table. We are saying these are the treatments of the future, and Indian orthopedics, Indian pain physicians, Indian doctors, Indian patients should understand and know about these therapies as we go forward.
Your good name.
My name is Nitin Turpure. A regenerative medicine conference that we hold annually. This year it's going to be in Chennai on August 1st to the 3rd, from 1 to 3 August in Chennai.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you.
Love to talk about regenerative and orthobiological methods in an orthopedic conference. It's very interesting to have both the perspective from the orthopedic perspective as well as the regenerative perspective. And so these are we always have we know that that any fracture we don't always can treat it by just doing plaster or just doing plating or just doing interlocking nailing. There are various methods to treat the fractures which are in similar zones. We have learned it over a period of time, many years, how to treat each fracture differently and in a right way. Orthobiologics is in a nascent state right now. It's developing science, and so unless we study it in depth, we are not going to get really great results. So training and studying orthobiologics as a different subject altogether is extremely important to get the results body. What we are trying to do is to get best results with the best possible resources that we have. That's our own body. So let's dig into it. There are many types of orthobiologics, and so I would always be saying this, that's very important to know when to use an orthobiologics, what exactly to use, how to use it, and most importantly, when not to use it. If we understand when not to use it, I think half the battle is won. So what orthobiologics? This is a very simplified classification which could be acellular, cellular and gene therapy, which is still in experimental stage, so I'm not going into the details of that. So cellular and acellular. Now cellular, we can divide it between stem cell based and platelet based, that is a PRP. I'm sure most of you have at least heard about PRP or used PRP most of the times. Stem cells could be adult stem cells or embryonic stem cells. We won't get into the details of embryonic stem cells because really they are not legally permissible at the moment anywhere. So adult stem cells could be from our own body, which is autologous, or could be from somebody else, which is allogenic. Even allogenic, right now in India, we are the first country to actually legalize allogenic stem cells, and there is a product, on-shelf product, available in the market. Acellular could be serum based on adipose stem cell therapy today. As an orthopedic surgeon, for us, fat is only fat cells. Okay, there's nothing else more to fat. Then I'm only wanting to reach the bone, and that's why I cut the fat into. But now we know that there's a lot more to fat than what we thought. So adipose tissue, fat tissue, and these cells are the ones which are clutching those. These are extremely regenerative. There are pre-adipocytes, there are true stem cells, there are macrophages, there are endothelial progenitor cells. All this mixture of cells is having extremely high regenerative property, which has already been proven now. So these are adventitious cells. Mesenchymal stem cells, pre-adipocytes, fibroblasts, macrophages, and basically there is extensive bioreactive secreting extracellular matrix. So not only the cells, but the whole extracellular matrix which is there in the fat, even that is a very bioreactive and secreting extracellular matrix. So if we analyze the ADRC, we know that 37% is made up of highly regenerative cells, which are mainly progenitor and endothelial. Then 7% of endothelial cells, around 4% of true stem cells, that is mesenchymal stem cells, and there are 23% which are macrophages, which are M2 type of macrophages, which means that they are very highly anti-inflammatory macrophages. But we know now that it has got a huge active reactive cell depot. It also has a huge property of immune modulation. Now this is extremely important in treating many of the autoimmune disorders. It has got extremely high anti-inflammatory action also. So to summarize, there are these types of cells, and that's why there is anti-inflammatory effect, there is modulation of immune response or abnormal immune response. It prevents senescence, which is a programmed cell death. That means leading to anti-aging property. Also, it secretes a lot of growth factors and cytokines and has huge regenerative potential. Sources, there is abundance of fat everywhere. Subcutaneous adipose tissue in the abdomen and has more of chondrogenic potential. So even when we inject a PRP, if we actually inject 1 cc also in the lower infrapatellar fat pad, it activates the chondrogenic potential. Indications, mainly osteoarthritis, that's what has been studied upon till now. So osteoarthritis, most commonly the knee, but you can use it in all the other joints. Degenerative disc disease, that's another very highly studied indication right now, and we've already started getting papers published on this, and chronic tendinopathy. So these three are the main indications in MSK of adipose stem cells. The types of adipose stem cells could be MFAT, that is micronized fat, then stromal vascular fraction, ultrasound cavitation, processed adipose stem cells, and culture expanded adipose stem cells. I'm going to talk more about MFAT. That's the simplest one. It consists of all the components of fat. Okay, so in stromal vascular fraction, only the regenerative cells are taken. In microfat, it's just the micronization of the fat which has happened, but really all the components of the fat tissue are taken. It retains the 3D architecture, and that's why we'll see why that is so important. So why microfat? It is very easily accessible, very simple to process. The quantity of cells available is enormous. There is bioscaffolding effect which is present already, and there are lots of other positive effects also. This is how we process the MFAT. So it's very easy to harvest fat. For MFAT, generally maximum 100 ml of fat is needed. I, being an orthopedic surgeon, can do it very easily in a good fat patient. If the patient is really skinny, then you should ask a plastic surgeon to assist. This is the fat processor for mini-fat that we use. It's a completely closed processed system, and this is the processor which micronizes as well as cleans, separates, and actually micro 30 minutes max. So this is homogenization at the end which happens. Generally this is called as biocomposite therapy, in which we mix 70% of microfat with 30% of PR. Coming to stromal vascular fraction, it is basically enzymatically digested fat, and then you take out the regenerative cells only to be injected. So the cell palette is very less. The advantage that you can inject it even intravenous, but disadvantage is there is no scaffold and only the regenerative cells will be there, so the number of cells are very limited. So these are the comparison between MFAT and SVF. I'm not going into too much detail of this, but basically in SVF you can have residual enzymes and those effects cannot be managed. This is my favorite, and most of you must be using BMAC many times or have been seen using BMAC. And so what is better? We've been using BMAC for lots of years. So now this adipose has come out recently, and what do we make out of it? What should we use? I would say BMAC has more of osteogenic potential than chondrogenic potential. So when osteogenic potential is needed, that means in malunions, in delayed unions or non-unions or avascular necrosis, I would prefer to use a BMAC. For adipose, it has got more of chondrogenic potential. So in chronic tendinopathies or osteoarthritis, I would prefer to use adipose. Genetically, adipose stem cells are more stable. It has got huge number of stem cells or regenerative cells, so to say. It has got longer telomere length. Are you adding PRP to the adipose stem cells while injecting? So this is the concept of biocomposite therapy, in which we add cellular mixture to the blood origin mixture. So which makes the growth factor available immediately. That's a very important point towards PRP, and it's in very strict and specific proportion. So this is a concept in stem cells, in which actually stem cells act best when they have a good home, okay, which is called homing, or their microenvironment. Unless microenvironment is there, their potential to act is limited, and so PRP enhances that microenvironment, and that's why adding PRP gives better result. So this is what I've been talking about. Biocomposite therapy has two components, cellular component and blood component, and you can mix and match for different indications like neurological indications, or you have plastic surgery indications or derma indications, the proportion in which your cellular and blood components are mixed is different. So for most of the orthopedic applications, we found that it is 70% of the cellular component to 30% of blood component which works the best. Coming to culture expanded, right now there is problem with legalities in culture expanded, at least in India, that's what I have been told. So you need to send your sample, harvested adipose sample, for culturing to a lab. It is cultured for 3 to 4 weeks and then you get the sample back. It can be preserved in the lab for multiple number of years, and then every year you can actually inject it back into the patient. It's very extremely expensive and as of now not legally permissible. It is permissible in UAE, and so we have been using it a lot there. Coming to very important thing, evidence. So just a simple net search will give you literally millions of articles, but are they all relevant? So this is the chart of adipose stem cell studies published for osteoarthritis of knee, right from 2011 when there was only one article, to 2019 where there were 16 studies, and from that to today there are 55 or more studies which have been published. In those, this is a chart wherein this is level 1 evidence for MFAT in osteoarthritis from 2019 to 2024 or this year. So these are all randomized controlled trials or meta-analysis or systematic reviews, which means it is grade level 1 evidence. They all have given positive results. I'll just take 2 minutes.
Sure.
They've all given positive results, anywhere between 1 year follow-up to 4 year follow-up. Multiple studies in them have demonstrated that there has been increase in the cartilage thickness on repeat MRIs at 2 years or more. So this is another very important and large study which came in 2022. More than 500 patients for spine treated with adipose stem cells, 2 year follow-up, excellent results. This is another one why it is important, because it clearly demonstrated increase in the cartilage thickness on MRI at 3 year follow-up. This is just yesterday's study, February 2025, systematic review. 21 studies have been included for adipose stem cells. All these are PubMed indexed and level 1 studies. So it concluded that MFAT was very safe and effective for grade 1 to 4. This was a biocomposite study paper which was published in 2022. Total 302 patients. There we combined MFAT with BMAT. This is only 1 in 3 studies done in the world. There's another very interesting study which is coming up from Australia, allogenic ADSC. So just imagine when this becomes actually a routine, you will be able to donate your fat and earn money out of it. So our were grade 4, but they were early grade 4, less than 3 degrees of Varus. This is an ongoing study wherein we did actually 2 year follow-up till now. We did grade 1, 2 and 3. We did not include real grade 4, very advanced grade 4. And all had failed conservative treatment. All 4 were actually advised TKR. They didn't want to do TKR, and that's why this was done. So we had a failure rate of 7% in this. All 7% were grade 4 advanced. So I think having 93% success rate is a very high success rate, and this is a very valid alternative when you have something between very conservative physiotherapy and its failure and a total knee replacement. There's a huge treatment gap which lies there, in which you can very well use these orthobiological therapies, and useful, I would say. So we do conduct training courses in orthobiologics. So any of you who want to go deep into regenerative therapies can always connect with us. And we also are announcing our region conference, Region 2025, on August 1st, 2nd and 3rd in Chennai. Hope to see you there. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Now.